My fiance doesn't like skin brightening cream. She never uses it, but she also doesn't usually say anything about other people using it either. So I was surprised when she told me she didn't want my sister to use it for our wedding and asked me to convey the message. My sister always uses skin brightening cream for any big event, especially if she's photographed, so I know she's planning on doing so for our wedding. My fiance said she hates skin brightening cream and doesn't want the use of it immortalized in our wedding photos. She said my sister should understand, because this is a small family event, and the photos will only be seen by our close family and us. She said it's not unusual for brides to have requests about the wedding party's look. She would know better than me, so I agreed. Asking my sister didn't go over well. My sister was furious and said I had no say over her skincare routine. She said she'd use whatever product she wanted, and if my fiance had a problem with that, she could uninvite her. My fiance said fine, but then my sister won't be a part of the wedding party or in the photos. My mom and sister are furious about this decision and don't want to work with me at all, telling me to get my wife under control because she's being ridiculous. I would think my sister would want to make us happy on our special day and be willing to compromise, but did I ask for too much? Clarification. The cream changes your skin so that you look fair, more like a white person than a brown one. It isn't makeup. It fades over time, so you need to keep applying it, and it can make you sick. My fiance hates it because she's seen it give friends and relatives skin conditions and other illnesses, and because women who use it say women who don't are ugly. My fiance thinks we should be proud of our brown skin because our race has accomplished so many things. That's why she didn't want its obvious use in our photos. My fiance wants my sister to not use it for a month. You are the idiot. Your fiance sounds incredibly unreasonable and controlling here. Is this the only thing she's been like this over? Assuming your sister isn't painting her face like a straight-up clown, it's none of your fiance's business what she puts on her skin. The amount of insecurity it takes to avoid being outshone in photos is incredible. You need to spend some time reflecting on whether you want to deal with this long term. Right? Like, I assume skin brightening works similarly to a spray tan. I do a spray tan all the time before big events, especially when I'm going to be photographed. It would be weird and unreasonable if someone didn't want me to for what appears to be no logical reason. You're the idiot, OP, not only for agreeing with your fiance's unreasonable request, but also because of your last sentence. I would think my sister would want to make us happy on our special day. Full stop. That's manipulative. Disagree. I think OP needs to make it really clear that when you're saying a skin brightening cream, you mean a fairness cream. I think that really changes the concept because it involves colorism. I hope you don't mind me asking, but are you South Asian? I am, and I know the craze around fairness creams, like Fair and Lovely, and the culture surrounding lightening your skin is poignant and gross. I see why it makes your wife uncomfortable to have people bleach their skin around her, generally, but especially if she's of darker skin tone herself. With the context, I think not the idiot. Sister's not saying she thinks brown people are ugly by using this cream. If anything, she's just saying she doesn't like how she looks and wants to change herself. If a natural brunette lady dyes her hair because she doesn't like herself brunette, that's not some huge message that she thinks all brunettes are ugly. I'm going to treat this as any other moral choice, e.g. veganism. It's one thing to choose a life for yourself, and another to force it on others. OP, you are the idiot. Update. After talking to my fiancé, we've decided to just uninvite my sister. Her beliefs are our own, and not really any of our business. But why would we want someone who thinks women who look like my fiancé are ugly to be at our wedding? It just doesn't make sense. I always saw it as a personal choice, but it's more than that. By using that cream, my sister's saying to the world that she thinks brown women are ugly. And while that's sad for her, because she is one, it isn't my fiancé's problem to deal with. So we just won't have her there. No one should be told on their wedding day that they're ugly. I was with my ex for about 7 years, never married, and we lived together for the last 4. We broke up 3 years ago. She has a 21-year-old son, Shane, who's now going to college in a town I've since moved to that his parents don't live in, about a 6 hours drive. We've moderately kept in touch since the breakup, mostly just when he reaches out to me. I would have preferred a clean break from both him and his mom, but I have a hard time totally shutting people out. I've not seen Shane in person since he was 18. Anyway, I got married last year and welcomed my first child a few months ago. This will be my first Christmas with my wife and child. Shane was going to visit where his mom lives now for Christmas, but due to a pending storm, it's uncertain if he will be able to travel there. He called me last night and asked if he could spend Christmas with me. I definitely got caught off guard and told him while it was good to hear from him, it'll be my first Christmas as a whole family, and I would prefer to keep it to just us and maybe her parents, who will stop by later. Shane was very upset and told me I was replacing him. I tried to reason with him that this happens when adults move on. I said we could still keep in touch, but I wanted Christmas just with my family since it's our first one. He hung up and then later sent me a long text saying some not super nice things. My wife is glad I said no, but at the same time says she empathizes with how he feels and I should apologize but not necessarily have him over, but she would support me if that's what I want. Am I the idiot for not wanting him to come over for Christmas? Edit. Shane's father is active in his life. He's just out of town. I had only met Shane a few times until he moved in during his high school years. He was very active in sports and extracurriculars, so he wasn't actually home that much for us to spend time together. Their moving in was supposed to be temporary after his mom got laid off, and it dragged into their staying longer. His mother was very adamant that Shane had a father, and she didn't want me to attempt to parent her kid. While he lived at my house, he was basically an adult roommate. We got along well, but it was never a father-son type relationship. Yikes, dude, you are the idiot. He was your stepkid for basically 7 years. He's stranded for Christmas. Would it seriously hurt you if he came for Christmas? I'm grossed out by this, not gonna lie. If virtually anyone with whom I have a stable relationship asked if they could come to my house for Christmas, I would say yes because it's Christmas. So you're obligated to keep in touch with someone for the rest of your life just because you were around for their formative years? I think it's highly inappropriate to keep in touch with the children of your exes, especially if you don't have an emotional attachment to them. You can't keep staying in their lives just to spare their feelings. OP has his own feelings and the feelings of his own family. The young man mentioned in the story has a father, so it's not even like OP was his only father figure. Disagree. OP's an idiot. You either make a clean break or you let him be part of the family. You basically choose neither, and this is why you have this issue. You should have told him you were no longer a part of the family as soon as you signed those divorce papers. It still would have hurt a lot, but that's the proper way of doing things, not just because it's inconvenient for you now. The only good thing is he's an adult now, and this will give you the clean break you wanted, even if it was the absolute worst way to do it. I, 24 female, live with my girlfriend, 25, and a roommate, 23 female. We share a 2-bedroom apartment and have lived together for 2 years now. Up until now, we've gotten along pretty well. My roommate has an elderly cat. The cat is honestly kind of mean. She doesn't like my girlfriend or me and will run away if we try to pet her or pick her up. So we just avoid each other. My roommate asked if we had cats before moving in because she said her cat doesn't like other cats. We didn't have any pets at the time, so it worked out. However, we did tell her that we might want one someday, to which she said we'd have to revisit the issue if it came up. Well, my girlfriend and I have gotten to a place where we really want our own pet. We saw a kitten at the shelter and fell in love with him. We got the okay from the landlord and brought him home last week. His name is Banana Pudding. Our roommate is furious with us. She told us that we were aware that her cat doesn't like other cats. I told her honestly that it was unfair of us to tiptoe around her cat and that we were allowed to have our own pets as long as the landlord was okay with it. which he is. She couldn't expect us to never get a pet or to cater to her cat's needs 24/7. The conversation ended there. Unfortunately, things have escalated because her cat hisses and swats at Banana Pudding just for existing. She's honestly pretty aggressive, which is a big issue in my opinion. Our kitten is very friendly and sweet and causes no problems. We asked our roommate to keep her cat in her bedroom since she's elderly and aggressive. She refused and hasn't been speaking to us. She says we're huge idiots and even got some mutual friends to take her side. If her cat is so aggressive and uncomfortable, it's her responsibility to live alone. It's gotten so bad that my girlfriend is crying and considering taking the kitten back to the shelter. Here I am to get an outside perspective because I don't know what to think now. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You can't just show up with a kitten and be all, your cat has to stay in your room now. What kind of narcissism is that? The older cat was there first, and your roommate warned you that he didn't like other cats. Instead of having any conversation, you just brought home a kitten and now expect an elderly cat to be confined to one room for the rest of his life? You are most indeed the idiots here. That cat deserves to live out his life in peace. And if you want to keep your kitten, you better go find somewhere else to live. Your roommate has every right to be angry, and you're out of line. Also, you're an idiot for not properly introducing the kitten to another cat, and vice versa, which could be a large part of the problem. And the spontaneous adoption, they sound so immature. The older cat is not mean just because it doesn't like to be picked up or petted by you. It's a pet with its own preferences, which is completely normal. You're not a good pet owner. His name is Banana Pudding. It sounds like you wanted a cuddly toy because it's cute. Both cats are living beings with emotions and territory. This place is their home, which you've turned into a place of stress and danger for both of them. Oh, and when Banana Pudding loses an eye, you have no one to blame but yourself, since you put that poor kitten in that situation. Same with the elderly cat. It deserves to roam too. Update. My roommate and I have talked. I apologized to her for being selfish and ignorant and for putting her cat in an uncomfortable situation. She forgave me and said she'd be happy to help do a proper introduction between the kitties. She said that if we do things slowly and carefully, her cat might be able to accept Banana Pudding. For now, our kitten will be staying in our room for the introduction process. She also taught me a little about cat body language. And guys, her cat came and sat in my lap. She even purred. My roommate is a very kind and forgiving person, and I'm very thankful that she chose to forgive me after I was such a huge idiot to her. I think things are going to work out. Thanks everyone for your advice and criticism. My boyfriend, 33, and I, 29 female, have been living together for the last year and a half, together for 2.5. A few months ago, my boyfriend had his blood pressure measured, and it came back ever so slightly high. He's a very healthy weight for his height, tall and thin, but muscly from work as a diesel mechanic. But high blood pressure is no joke, so he decided to try to clean up his diet a little. I do 90% of the cooking at home. By choice, he does dishes and vacuums, so this isn't an issue, and I genuinely cook on the healthier side. I'm only 5'3" and slim and athletic, so I focus a lot on healthy proteins. So we eat a lot of proteins and veggies, and I like to play around with different sauces and things to make it interesting. I feel like the meals I make set a strong foundation for an overall healthy lifestyle. My boyfriend loves my cooking and always brags to his friends about what we eat. Suddenly, my boyfriend decided he doesn't want to eat salt in the things we eat at home at all. I can't work with that. We've never used salt excessively in our diet, so asking me to cut a healthy amount from our meals just seems ridiculous. I do too much cardio and strength training and don't want to have a sodium deficiency because my boyfriend suddenly decided we can't have salt in breakfast or dinner, meals we eat together. I brought that up to him, and he suggested salting my food separately, which, fine, but we all know it doesn't taste the same. Cooking our food in separate pots, or for me to supplement in other ways, like Gatorade. This is where the issue comes in. I would be perfectly happy to make these accommodations if I felt like it would actually help, but he's constantly snacking on high-sodium snacks like chips and pretzels and frozen egg rolls, and I just feel like it's unfair to ask me to change how I salt our food before working on cutting out some of his unhealthy eating choices. He's gotten to the point where he feels disrespected if I cook for both of us and use salt, and he'll refuse to eat or do the dishes if I tell him I've salted the food. I think he's being a baby and refusing to stop salting our food. We're at an impasse. So am I the idiot? I feel like the salt content in our food is not going to be the change he needs to reduce his sodium content because he's snacking around 6 to 8 times a day. Not the idiot. Pretzels? Come on, man, it's a little salt block. A delicious salt block, but still. The high sodium snacks are the issue, not your cooking. My dad developed high cholesterol when I was a kid and was told to cut out red meat. So the whole family cut out what little red meat we were eating. Lo and behold, we discovered that Dad's just eating red meat for lunch at work instead. So that was the end of the whole family making a change, because why should we when he won't help himself? Pretty sure an actual salt lick has less sodium than frozen egg rolls. He just needs to cut the junk food first. A woman in my family went through this. She changed the meals for the whole household and started packing the guy lunches that fit with the dietary recommendations. Went to a lot of effort and expense getting all their food in line with the doctor's orders. No one was happy about it, but it was necessary for this guy's health. One day she went out to his car to get something and noticed a bad odor. So she opened the trunk and discovered he'd been dumping his lunch bags in there every day. When confronted, he confessed he's been going out and eating lunch and would have a big satisfying meal, so he didn't have to eat much of the healthy food at dinner either. Basically, it sounds like your boyfriend is saying that he wants to put all the work for this on you instead of him. Make him cook his own dinners. He's eating salty snacks and complaining about your cooking. He can take care of himself. When he cuts out the healthy snacks, you'll resume cooking with compromise. I, 23 female, went shopping a few days ago, and my fiance wasn't supposed to be there, but he kept insisting we had things to talk about, so he showed up. When I was going to pay for my items, he gave me his card and told me that he would take care of it from now on, and I shouldn't spend my dad's money anymore. Things are rocky between my fiance and dad, which is why I think he said it, but the entire thing rubbed me the wrong way. I pushed his hand away and told him I didn't need him to pay for my things, but he ignored me and paid anyway. I was mad, so I asked him what he was doing and told him to stop being an idiot. He told me I was welcome and to stop making a scene. I kept bringing it up and telling him he was being an idiot, so now he's annoyed at me and saying things like I need to get used to not living under my dad's thumb anymore. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Hate to break it to you, but your fiance thinks of you as a possession, not a person. He wants to ensure that you know you belong to him, not your father. If you don't like that feeling, try paying for your own things occasionally. I encourage you to seek financial independence. Are you sure you want to be engaged to a guy who needs to be right and in charge, to the point that his power plays steamroll right over you? I find it disturbing that he said he would take care of it from now on. Does he expect you to be totally financially dependent on him and unable to take care of yourself so you can never leave? Is he trying to isolate you from your family? Red flags. Yeah, your fiancé sounds overbearing and controlling. Why is he insisting on joining you when you said you wanted to shop alone? And heads up, financial control and abuse are a real thing. Make sure you are financially secure in your own relationship so you aren't relying on him or your dad. Good luck.